Welcome to a very special edition of Sports Talk on Blue Ridge 11. We have a very fun night of football conversations planned. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I am Chad Landers. This is our annual Sports Talk LL Football Coaches Show. For the next 90 minutes, we will welcome in the head football coaches of Cocalico, Conestoga Valley, Manheim Central, Warwick, Ephrata, and Garden Spot as we preview the 2020 high school football season. It's a shortened schedule this year, but we are getting excited that football is back, and that should make all of you out there very excited as well. First order of business, we have a football game coming up this Friday night live right here on Blue Ridge 11. That is right. Football is back in just a couple of days as the Ephrata Mounts kick off our fall sports schedule Friday, September 18th versus the Elko Raiders. The entire game will be seen live on Blue Ridge 11 starting at 7 p.m. from War Memorial Field. All right, let's start the football previews, and we will begin with our Section 2 teams. First up are the Cocalico Eagles. So let's welcome to the program first-year head coach Brian Stroll. Coach Stroll, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. Certainly been an interesting beginning, but we're excited to get started here on Friday night, the official game.
We do appreciate it. Thank you for your time. As you see there on the screen, also joining us for tonight's conversations, the voice of Blue Ridge 11's football broadcasts, Eric May. Eric, give us your excitement level as high school football is just days away here.
Well, what's the old adage? Better late than never. And I think that pretty much summed up how everybody's feeling about not just football, but fall sports in general. So, yeah, it's time to ramp it up and get going.
Yeah, get going. It's just a couple of days. You can kind of feel it. It's like, I don't want to say this, but it's almost like Christmas morning here. And filling out that fourth and final box on your screen there, a legend on the Cocalico football sidelines for decades, the coach Phil Kaufman. And I know you've been waiting a long time for high school football to arrive. So how are you feeling now that we are just days away?
I have been excited all week, all the time. I can't wait to see the new era at Cocalico and Manheim without Noah Palm and without Simon. It's a whole new time in those programs.
Yeah, we've got a lot of questions and a lot of answers to get to. So let's get started. Here we go. Coach Stroll, you are up. You're about to embark on your first season as the head coach of Cocalico football. And what a year you picked to take over for the Cocalico Eagles here. Not only do you have to fill in for longtime head coach Dave Gingrich, not only are the Eagles the defending 5A District 3 champs, but you've had to navigate strict safety guidelines and protocols concerning the coronavirus pandemic. How's the first year been for you starting out?
It's certainly been an adventure. I've definitely enjoyed a lot of parts of it. Definitely some parts we could do without with all the COVID stuff. And you think just as something as simple as when you have a thunderstorm and normally we go in being in the gym and now you got to have kids in 3 different areas and it's just a lot of logistical, organizational things to figure out. But ultimately it comes down to you do those things because you want to spend time with the kids. And it's been great to be back out there with them, since we started in July and working through and gearing up for Friday night.
Yeah, how was the waiting game when you guys were kind of doing your thing this summer, but you weren't quite sure fall sports would happen? And then all of a sudden we get the go ahead there at some point in August. How was that mentally for you guys?
I think me as a head coach and, our other coaches as well, tried to be as positive as we could be. And made the kids believe that it was going to happen. And you're realistic too, but we knew we had to prepare as if it was going to happen all along. And I think there were times where I thought 90% sure we would play, times I thought 90% sure we wouldn't play. And I'm glad it worked out as it did, and that we're good to go for 7 games and see what happens after that.
That's right, 7 games in the LL League and then potentially the playoffs, a shortened, smaller, condensed version of playoffs. Let's get to your players on the field because obviously that's what makes everything go. We all know that Cocalico made quite the run last year all the way to the District 3 championship game. Lots of reasons for that, but one of the big reasons was Noah Palm at quarterback, as we kind of like to say here at this channel, the GOAT of Cocalico football. Noah Palm moves on to college. So where do we go here at the quarterback spot, and how is that transition going from one of your all-time greats?
So Carson Nash, who is a senior, he had moved into our district as a freshman. Dad had grown up here. They played for Coach Kaufman, I believe, moved back in. And so he's been with us. This is his 4th season. in the Cocalico system. And he learned a lot from Noah. And I mean, we told him all along, you don't have to be Noah Palm. You need to be Carson Nash. And we try to find ways to utilize his talents, and he has plenty of those. And he's been waiting in the wings, and I was very impressed with how he performed in our scrimmage Friday night. Still plenty of things to improve upon, but he's one of our captains and leadership role, and I think he can do a lot of great things to guide us to where we want to be.
All righty, let's let some of the other guys jump in here. Eric, go ahead and volley in a question there for Coach Stroll.
Well, first of all, I don't know who hasn't played for Coach Kaufman, but that's another story. And as far as Carson is concerned, what a scrimmage. I mean, to go against Wilson, which is a predominant powerhouse in Section 1, I think is a great test for you guys moving forward. But I guess my question is, you've got guys coming back, both sides of the ball. It's got to give you a nice peace of mind with at least 4, maybe 5 guys returning on the offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly lost a lot of quality seniors, but luckily the amount of seniors we lost was not that many. So with that said, we had plenty of guys who went through the district championship run last year and experienced what that was like. And now they're stepping up into more of those senior leadership roles, more of the prime roles where we had Brock before anchoring the offensive line, and now we have Ben Beringer, Jared Stauffer, Ryan Brubaker all back, plus some other pieces there fitting in. We've got Damian Wolf and Chucky Drain, as well as some other seniors, Evan Haldeman, who are kind of in the mix there as well. So, they've been gelling since our time back together, but, with our offense, it starts all up front, and it's definitely nice to have some returning guys back up there who can make our run game and our pass game make that go as well.
We'll see with the pass game. Coach Kaufman, hop in here.
Tell me, Stroley, good job scheduling Wilson. You may not see another team as good as that the whole year. I watched your video, and I thought Carson played a nice game. Did a lot of scrambling. I thought he needs a little bit of work on his option, but you have to be very pleased. I didn't realize he's 6'2", 195. He's a big boy. So
yeah, he's put on a little bit of size, and they definitely had some pressure on us. We had some protection issues, but he, like you said, he scrambled well, got out of the pocket well, and that was one thing that was definitely good to see. And like you said, he wasn't our JV quarterback last year because he was playing a lot defensively and played some at receiver, so we didn't play him in JV, so he didn't get a ton of snaps as far as that goes. So I expect to see constant improvement from him early on in the season here too, as he gets more and more snaps. But yeah, I mean, Wilson's certainly a quality opponent. It doesn't get that much more difficult than that to start, and that's actually where Carson moved in from. So he was getting to scrimmage his boys from when he was back in middle school. So good stuff for him.
All right, nice little nugget there. How's the run game looking? I know Cocalico always has the advantage as they run that veer, and you got some guys in there. They got some speed and some experience. So how's that going to work this year for you guys?
I think the one thing that's really nice right now is our depth in our backfield is probably more than it's been, in a little while since I can remember. We have Stephen Flinton back, who started at the other slot back opposite of Zom last year. We have Micah Ulysses back, who played a lot, in the district championship game and the state semifinal game, as well as throughout the year. He was kind of the backup to both Stephen and Ronald last year. So, having them back, and then Tyler Angstad, who started defensively as a freshman. He's another one who gives us some depth there. Bryson Flinton, Stephen's brother, he came up as a freshman, didn't play last year, and is back out this year. And I think he'll help to give us some depth at the slot and also helping us out at receiver. And then as fullback, this one we definitely have the most depth since I've been in Cocalico Blue, that's for sure. We have 4 different kids that I could see, rotating in with our first group. So Anthony Barassa, who is a kid who scored first game last year and then was injured. Austin Vang, who obviously played a lot last year. Probably remember that name from our playoff run. And then Craig Neal, who played as a sophomore, didn't play last year, is back out this year. And same with Jake Humphrey, who, again, took last year off. And I think some of those guys realized, as they stood in the student section watching what happened last year. I think they realized, you know what, I want to be back in with this team and experience that. So not guaranteeing that kind of run again, but I think, it's nice having them on board and back in the program again.
Yeah, it's nice to bolster those ranks there at Cocalico. Obviously, it's not known to have, over 100 players there on the sideline. So every single one that comes back is obviously a bonus for you. A couple minutes left here. Want to ask you about your week 1 opponent here, Garden Spot, coming up on Friday. What are you kind of expecting from them? Is there something that you guys are really trying to hone in that they're going to bring out there to Denver?
I mean, I think first thing that stands out is they have a 3-year starter at quarterback. Jesse Mark can do a lot, and both in their read option game and pass game. And then they have a beast of a fullback in Dikey, who is certainly a load to bring down. And I think those are the first 2 things that stand out. Is they can have that powerful running game, but then also have a 3-year starter at quarterback. So a lot to prepare for. And Coach Z always does a great job over there, getting his kids to play tough, physical football, which is what we try to preach here too. So, I think that'll be a good clash to start the season.
Nice hard-hitting game there on tap on Friday. Got to ask you, Cocalico dropping down to 4A playoffs here. An interesting spot for the Eagles. They're only going to let 4 squads in here, so you have to be top 4 in the power rankings. I know playoffs are a long way off, but it's an interesting thing here and a lot harder to get into. How do you kind of view that this year, Coach Stroll?
It's funny you mentioned that now, because I actually just talked to the team about that today. Saying now we're in game week, things have to change, and with actually the way it's set up this year, our last game, which is scheduled to be Manheim Township, won't even count for playoff points. So you really have 6 games that will count towards the playoff points. So I talked to the kids, and you can't not come ready to play any Friday night, because you lose 1 game, 2 games for sure, your chances of making the playoffs are not looking so good. So it's just trying to keep them focused and ready to go each and every Friday.
All right, a coach's job is never done. Thanks for joining us today, Coach Stroll. We really appreciate it. Good luck with Garden Spot this Friday, and good luck with the season in general.
Thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure being here. I appreciate it, and thanks for all you do for us and for the kids.
Our pleasure.
All right.
You got him, Strolly. Appreciate
it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Coming up after the break, we've got another team in Section 2 coming your way, the Conestoga Valley Buckskins. Lots to talk about with Coach Jared Novak, including some adversity to start the season. We'll be right back. Welcome back to this Sports Talk Special, our annual LL Football Coaches Show. Chad Landers with you here on Blue Ridge 11. Thanks for tuning in. Joining us on the program, Eric May, Coach Phil Kaufman, along for the ride. Next up, Conestoga Valley head coach Jared Novak. Thanks for coming on the program tonight, Coach.
Thanks, Chad. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate you. This is your 5th year with the Buckskins in your 2nd time around at CV. So, you've seen a lot over the years in your coaching career, and this coronavirus pandemic and the effects it's probably taking there on the team, something that you haven't seen before. So how are you guys handling it over there? How's everything going with Conestoga Valley? I know there's been some issues and the schools had to kind of go virtual. Can you fill us in on what the feeling is over there at CV?
Well, the kids right now are very disappointed the fact that we have to be virtual and we're not able to practice and get out there this week. Obviously, we missed our scrimmage last week against LS, which was disheartening for the kids because they've been working so hard ever since we came back from the pandemic to get ready. And just as we're about to get on the field, one day before the carpet is pulled out from underneath our feet, and now we're off until the 22nd. And hopefully everything will go well and we'll be able to get back to action as soon as possible.
Okay, so let's set it up for everyone. No game this Friday against Daniel Boone, and we're talking no game with Warwick next Friday. So the first 2 weeks are kind of taken away there. Are you guys allowed to practice right now? What's kind of the rules going on here?
Yeah, we're not allowed to practice. We can't hold any practices until September 22nd, although the school board is voting tonight to decide whether or not they're going to allow the athletes to go back to practice. And if they do, there's a possibility that we might still be able to play Warwick. But at this point in time, we can't get our 15 days of practice in prior to Warwick. Had we been allowed to scrimmage on Saturday and practice when we come back on the 22nd, we would have been able to play Warwick on Saturday if they would have been willing to do that. But at this point in time, it looks like both Daniel Boone and Warwick are out unless the school board gives us the okay to practice starting this week.
Okay, all right. So a little disappointing there for you guys and your players. Looks like the first game for you then would be October 2nd at home against Elizabethtown. Eric, go ahead. You've been kind of listening. Why don't you hop in on some of what we're talking about here?
Obviously, nothing like this in the coach's manual, that's for sure.
No.
All right, well, let's get to the team. Obviously, you lose a quarterback last year to graduation, and now you've got a sophomore, McCoy Nisley, stepping in. How has he progressed in the offseason and in the preseason?
Yeah, McCoy, great question, because he's got some big shoes to fill in Bradley Stoltz's shoes. But, McCoy has done a great job through the pandemic of throwing just about 3 or 4 times a week, sometimes 5 times a week. So his arm has gotten stronger. He's done a great job through the preseason here, with play calling and recognizing defenses, some of the things that he really had a hard time with last year. There's a lot of verbiage and a lot of understanding that needs to take place on the field, especially in the passing game. And he's made tremendous strides. The bad part about it is right now, Eric, is, as you know, we're not going to have that opportunity to practice against different defenses and things that he's going to see. So, hopefully it doesn't set him back. And I'm sure, knowing him, he will be out throwing and doing things to keep himself ready and sharp for when we do return to the season.
Coach Kaufman, why don't you hop in here?
Just a question, Coach. You lost a lot of people last year, including your 2,000-yard passer. Do you look on this year as kind of a rebuilding year? Because you lost some good linemen too.
Yeah, I mean, the heart of our team, our offensive line and our quarterback, our play callers, is where we need to replace the most people. And we have those skilled kids. We have wideouts as we've always had at CB. I don't know what it is. We're always blessed with some skilled kids who can play the wide receiver or defensive back position. And we have a new line coach, Coach Aaron Basil from Hempfield, who I think has worked out very well for us and our team. And the offensive line has really responded well to him. And we're doing some new things with the offensive line, and they look good. It's just we'd like to see them against someone else other than ourselves. So, yeah, it's going to be tough. We've got some people to put in their places, but we've got a lot of work to do, and losing scrimmage and possibly 2 games is not a good situation for a young offensive line and a young quarterback.
Well, you have a good running back and an inexperienced quarterback, so maybe you'll run the ball more this year.
Man, I get such a bad rap about running the ball. I'm telling you. If you can remember, I'm just going to refresh your memory. 2 years ago, we had the leading rusher in Martin, until he got hurt against Cocalico.
Right.
I'm not opposed to running the ball, but you have to be able to, get some yardage. If I can get 3 yards or 3.5 yards a carry, I'm not opposed to doing that. As again, I'll remind you, I know you're the Veer guy of Lancaster County, probably you and Coach G, but we did run the Veer at one point in time, so I'm not opposed to running the football.
Well, you say that with a straight face.
Hey, if we can run, Booper's been doing a great job. He's worked hard. He's bigger. He's stronger. And I think some of the things we're doing with the offensive line will help him. But again, it's a young offensive line, and if they can progress the way we hope, we can be dangerous to the outside, and with his speed on the inside, I think we can make some big plays.
What about some of your other skill players that are going to be making a name for themselves this year? Can you clue us in on one or two?
Sure. Zach Fisher, obviously coming back from last year, had a phenomenal year for us. Jay Plowden, who plays at the wide receiver, number 5, defensive back as well at corner, has done a great job, has gotten a lot faster. So he and Fisher are going to kind of switch positions on the field. We're going to put a little bit more speed to the single receiver side of the field, and and have a guy that can run some great routes to the 3 receiver side of the field. Jabari Aspilari is one of our other wideouts who's done a good job, and Avery Tran. So we've got some kids there and some backups, some kids that were hurt last year who didn't get an opportunity to play, but are ready to go.
All righty, Eric, what else you got for Coach Novak here?
Well, I guess my question is the setback that you've experienced now, are you back to virtual meetings, and are you talking with the kids about what you want them to do every day on their own as far as trying to maintain that shape that they were ready to go?
Yeah, we a little bit. Today was the first day, so I know some kids were out working out. We talked about that last week, the importance of getting out and doing some skill work, whether they're running routes or they're going through their blocking schemes and so things of that nature, going through the steps. It's pretty much on them. It's tough to have Zoom meetings right now, with everybody. It's easier to do it by positions, although we haven't set any of those things up. I'm just trying to stress to the kids right now that they've got to do some work on their own, at least stay in shape physically with their footwork. We have some weight training stuff that they can do, body weight stuff that we've sent home. We're going to miss a week of training, but, getting back, the whole pad thing, we're in pads for a week. They're just starting. This is about the end of the week where you start to get over that soreness. And then now they're going to be off for a week, and they're going to have to go back through that soreness thing again. And that's, as you guys know, as football players, that's a rough situation when your body's aching again and you're trying to go full speed. So, it's going to be very interesting when we play Elizabethtown. That'll really be the first time that we, have any game situation stuff, any play clocks, any officials, balls coming in and out of the game. It's not a scrimmage. It's for real, and they're going to have 3 games in, and we're going to be playing our first one. And you know what that's like. If you're that far behind the 8 ball, it's not going to be easy for our kids.
Well, and when you guys do finally get back, you have to hop into that Section 2 grind, which, very competitive this year with Warwick moving on down. Boy, can you kind of talk to us a little bit about navigating that schedule? You guys certainly found out at the end of your schedule last year how tough that was.
Yeah, Warwick is obviously a very good team. We got to see a little bit of them on television or on YouTube. They look big and strong and very physical. Elizabethtown, going to be tough again. They beat us 17-14 at our place. And then we got to go to Cocalico and the Manheim Central. So, right off the bat, we're going to have some real tough games. Again, not a good situation for a young team to be in, to have to go out and battle two of the best probably teams in the LL, in the Section 2 of the LL. In Central and Cocalico, and that'll be our 3rd and 4th game, or 2nd and 3rd game, and that'll be their 4th and 5th game. So it is not going to be an easy task for us at all this year. Not at all. It's going to take a lot of hard work on our kids' parts, and we'll really get to see what the character of our kids are like. We've tried to change the work ethic of our kids. We think we have. Now we got to teach them how to be winners, and hopefully this will help us in getting to that cause.
All right, Coach Kaufman, we have time for one more question. You got one to throw in there?
Yeah, just tell me about your quarterback, Nisley. It's Nisley, right?
Correct.
What's his height and his good arm or quick release?
Obviously, and you play in our offense, you've got to have a quick release. We want the ball out of their hands as fast as possible. We don't want them holding on to the ball too long. Not real tall kid. He's probably maybe 5'9", possibly. He's got the ability. He can grow a little bit more, but he's only a sophomore. The reason we brought him up as a freshman, it was to get him ready to play. I'm not going to say he's not as fast as Stoltzfus. He's probably not as athletic as Bradley is, but then again, we're talking about a sophomore and a senior. So I think he'll really grow into the position. He wants to do it. He wants to be good at it, and he works hard at it. And that's all I can ask for. And with the progress he's made up to this point in time, I couldn't be more pleased. I think a lot of the kids, when they first saw him throw the ball over the summertime, were very surprised from last year to this year on how much better he got at delivering the football. So even his composure at practice in the huddle, is much better. So I think the kids are buying in, and they really believe in what he's doing.
All right, thank you for joining us, Coach Novak, filling us in and obviously talking about some tough issues. Good luck with you and the team as you get through these interesting times, and we'll see you on Blue Ridge 11 October 16th against those Barons.
Right. Fantastic. All right, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, have a good one.
All right.
And speaking of the Barons, we will talk about Manheim Central football after the break as we welcome their head ball coach Dave Hahn to the show. Lots of new personnel over there in Manheim. We'll get the details coming up next. Welcome back to our Sports Talk Special Edition, the annual LL Football Coaches Show. We are rolling along here with the 2020 high school football preview, spending a lot of time in Section 2, where we have 4 local teams competing. Next up, it's time to welcome the head coach of the Manheim Central Barons, his 6th season leading those Barons, Coach Dave Hahn, joining us. Thank you so much for your time, Coach Hahn.
Absolutely. Good evening, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. Obviously, we know you're busy. We're preparing for week 1 of the football season here for your squad, so we do appreciate that. And you've been around the program a decently long time, whether it's been as the assistant coach or the head coach. Lots of challenges, high expectations throughout those years. But I'm willing to bet you haven't encountered anything as unique as these COVID-19 guidelines and the protocols. What's it been like trying to follow all of that properly and obviously keep your guys also following it properly?
Well, it's been a challenge, like no other that we've ever been through before. And we've had the MRSA incidents, and you get other incidents that happen throughout a season and different years. You get certain types of injuries and stuff, but nothing like this. So you just got to roll with the punches, and just be able to block out all the noise and focus on what's important.
And it helps being a veteran coach, I imagine, as I said, being around the program as long as you have. Question for you here. We got to get right into it. You guys had one of the best offensive weapons there in quite some time. Evan Simon at your quarterback position, 8,000 passing yards, number 2 all-time in the LL League. He's off to graduation, off at Rutgers. So we got to find out here, who's running the show over there at the QB spot? Can you kind of clue us in?
Right now, we've got a couple of guys that are working in, but Judd Novak is kind of taking most of the reps. He's done a good job. Judd filled in a couple of times for Evan last year and had some good moments. He's also a multiple sport athlete, plays basketball. He's a point guard on the basketball team. He's got good command of things. He's got a great relationship with his teammates. Kids kind of look to him, so it's a good fit with Judd in there. But we also have some other quality kids, and Brady Harbach, who's a young sophomore, and then Charlie Seipel, who's another junior.
Okay, so you got a bunch of options there. Eric, why don't you hop in here and ask Coach Hahn your first question?
Well, and I've been covering, Manheim Central for many years, and I can't think of a year where you've had just so few full-time returning players. What has that done as far as raising the level of competition for the guys fighting for those positions?
They know there's some openings there. Guys want to get on the field. They know they got to compete. In some areas, we're not too bad off in some areas. We had some guys there last year at receiver, but we got some pretty good receivers that were waiting in the wings that are ready to go. I think I don't know if there'll really be much a drop off, and that's not to take anything away from the receivers that we had last year. It's just that I think these kids have worked incredibly hard, and they're competing to get more and more reps on the field. So I think we're going to be good there. I think we've got some running backs that are ready to take on a role this year that maybe last year they were a little too young and they weren't really ready for it. And this year, I think we got 2 juniors that are really stepping it up. We got a sophomore that's come in who's got nice size that's trying to fight for more reps. Our line we have one kid returning on the line, and he may be on the defensive line, and he may rotate in on the offensive line, but I'm not so sure that he's going to be a starter there right now. So, we got kids that are battling there too. We're going to have some young guys playing. There might be some growing pains, but I think there's a lot of potential with those kids, and there's definitely room to grow with them. They could be really good players. We got some good ones. So.
All righty, Coach Kaufman, hop in here.
Okay, Coach, I watched part of your scrimmage against Township, and I was impressed with Novak. I thought he did a really nice job. But the one person I'm interested in is your running back, Marley. What can you tell me about him? He looks like he's going to carry the load.
Larry will be one of our running backs. I'd say, going into Friday night, he'll be our starting tailback. But we also have Justin Heffernan as another junior, and then we've got a sophomore in Jaden White. All capable of running. They run with a little bit of power, a little bit of finesse. They got a little bit of both in them. They're not quite like a Damon Camacho, and they're not quite like a Tyler Flick. They're two opposites, right? So they're somewhere in between those guys. I'm excited to see what they'll do when the lights are on, scoreboards going. So,
can you put a name or two to some of those receivers? We'd love to give them some credit on here.
Yeah, we've had one kid in particular that's really stepped up is Owen Pappas. Owen was our safety last year. He'll continue to play safety. He's going to also be one of our receivers. Another one who's really a strong competitor is Owen Sensenig. He's done a really good job. He's competed at corner and at wide receiver, so he's going to probably see himself on both sides of the ball. A third one is Wes Borden. Wes Borden had some playing time last year and he had a couple of good games where he stepped in certain roles, and we expect a lot out of him. And we've got a couple other kids that we're trying to work in and out and trying to groom some of our younger ones coming up through.
Sure. How about defense? You guys are always known for your strong defense. How are we looking there? Can you handicap that for us as we're kind of rolling into week one?
Yeah, I think the thing that I like about our defense is we're kind of a no-name defense right now. No big stars, nobody that you necessarily have oohed and awed over in the past, but they're kids that are fast. They move to the ball. They're tacklers. So I think we have the makings of good defense, but we need reps. We got some good safeties. We got two good corners. One new corner that's Corbin Moore was a lacrosse player. He still is a lacrosse player, but I've been after him. I've had him in my phys ed classes and my weight training classes for a couple of years, and finally was able to crack him, and he really is enjoying it. He's loving it. He's like a sponge. He's learning every day and just really improving every day. So I think our secondary is really coming along. Our linebacker level, we got some speed at linebacker. We're getting our reads down and we're moving well. We got some young ones that are really coming along too that are fighting for playing time. You'll hear the name Rocco Doherty at some point. And he's a tough kid, and and that goes along with our starting linebackers right now are Josh Moore and Justin Heffernan, and I think those guys are doing a really good job too.
That Doherty name sounds familiar.
His father played for us back in 96, 95 and 96.
Awesome. Okay, let's hop to week one here. You guys are preparing for Cedar Crest, got to make the trip up there. What can we expect, as you kind of take them on? What's the mindset? What's something that might concern you a little bit about them?
Well, Cedar Crest has a really good tailback linebacker. He's about 5'9", but he's 190 pounds. He's thick, but he's shifty. He's got some elusiveness to him. So we're going to have to stop him before he gets going. We're going to have to rally to the ball, get a lot of guys on him and tackling him. He's also a linebacker, and if we let him play in space, he's going to make plays. So we got to make sure we get a body on him, get some contact with him so that he can't just go in space, run around and make plays.
Awesome. All right, Eric, do you have another question here for Coach Hahn?
Well, I do, and special teams is always something that Manheim Central prides himself in, and now this year, like you did last year, you got not one but two talented kickers Logan Shaw was an all-star, and Nate Reed got invited to the Coles scholarship camp where a number of Lancaster Lebanon League kickers were. So talk about what you have there as far as not one but two really, really talented kickers.
Our kicking game should be pretty good this year. The other night we were 3 for 3 on kickoffs, all of them in the end zone. One of them was, nine deep in the end zone. Nate's got a strong leg. I mean, he's really got his technique down. And he reminds me so much of some of the past kickers that we've had that were just so entrenched in their mechanics and how they approached it. He fits right in there with those guys. Really detailed oriented kid, and he's really grown. Last year he struggled. We didn't know this at the time, but he struggled all year because he had a torn groin. He had surgery during the off season and then recovered. He really didn't start kicking again. I want to say it was probably April that he started kicking again. And since he did, he's just been on fire and doing really well. He actually took up punting as well this year. So we've got and he's pretty good at it. So we've got a quality punter. We've got a quality kicker. We've got Logan Shaw, who's a sure-footed, field goal kicker. And Nate can also kick the field goals too. So, I kind of like Logan from 35 and in. I think he's very, very consistent. I think, Bo, if we got into that 40 plus range, I might go with the big leg and Nate and let him go. But Logan's been great too. So they're both very talented, and I'm so appreciative of these guys because they play soccer too. And Coach Bruneyes and I have had many talks about both of them, and they have the personality that makes it work because it's not easy to play football, to play soccer, to carry an academic load, and to be successful at all of it. And they both are.
All righty, Coach Kaufman, last question goes to you.
Well, you have to be happy with your scrimmage Friday night. Being down 2 touchdowns and then coming back, scoring 2 and kicking a field goal. I mean, that says a lot about your kid's character. Were you happy with your scrimmage?
Well, first off, Bill, you know me better than that.
I figured that.
I wasn't happy with the scrimmage. There were some good things and there were some bad things that you take out of the scrimmage. And that's, as coaches, we tend to, not negate the bad things, but not dwell on those. And we tend to dwell on the negative and how can we get that better? So that's where I'm probably at. But I did recognize some good things that I saw and, effort and then resilience and being able to, fight back. Township had some kids that played throughout the night. I mean, it's not like they rotated guys in and out. We started out slow. Defensively, we played well. We had 2 breakdowns. We had 2 breakdowns on a screen, and we had one on a broken out of the pocket pass. We let the kid out of the pocket, our fault, and they capitalized on it. You take those 2 plays out there, they didn't score. They didn't consistently drive the ball on us. So I was kind of pleased with our defense and the way that they played. I think we got stymied on offense. 1, because they were moving around well on defense. 2, we lost a little bit of focus and didn't execute our assignments. So that's something that we're going to focus on. And, we worked on today. We'll be focusing on all week and, maybe quizzing and testing our kids, making sure that they're ready to go for Friday night.
All right, Coach Hahn, thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate you filling us in. By the way, we will have you on Blue Ridge 11 next Friday against Cocalico and the following week against Warwick. We are excited for that as those clashes will be live here. Thanks so much and good luck against Cedar Crest.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
All right, we'll see you then.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, time for another break, but when we return on this Sports Talk special, we will be sitting down with the newcomer to Section 2, the Warwick Warriors, and more specifically, head coach Bob Locker. That's all ahead on our annual LL Football Coaches Show. Stay tuned. Back here on Sports Talk, halfway through our annual LL Football Coaches Show. Chad Landers with you here on Blue Ridge 11. And I'm joined by Eric May and the coach, Phil Kaufman. And it's now time to visit with one of the longest tenured head coaches in the LL League. 20 years in charge of the Warwick Warriors. Head coach Bob Locker is here. Coach Locker, can't thank you enough for joining us today.
Always good to be here. I like the way you use tenured to describe an old man, but hey, good. So
you made it to 20 years. I mean, that's a big anniversary for you. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm not going to say what it actually means. Hey, before we get to any of your thoughts on your players, and we've got a lot of fun questions there, Warwick has a new home in the LL League. You guys are making the trip to Section 2 for the next couple of years. How are you guys feeling about where you are for at least this year and next year?
I don't think we spent too much time thinking about what it's going to be like to be in Section 2. You kind of get used to things. I mean, we were used to some of our Section 1 friends, let's put it that way. I enjoyed our trips to Wilson and stuff like that, but size of our school dictates that we moved down to Section 2. We were already playing Manheim Central. We were already scrimmaging Cocalico, so now that'll be a real game. It's been a long time since I took a bus ride to Coreyville, so I guess that'll be a highlight. It's been a while. Does E-Town have grass or turf?
I don't.
It's grass.
I think it's grass because I believe I stood in the rain in
Yes.
sneakers and was a soaking mess there one year. So yeah.
That was one little thing I did think about is, okay, I'm going to hit a couple grass fields, but it'll be interesting to play different people. It'll be different in terms of, when you play somebody, you kind of know what their tendencies are offensively and defensively, especially if they keep, the same scheme. We'll have to adjust to some new schemes this year. And I can't say I've seen much film on E-Town or Solanco. Solanco's a Veer team that I know. I know E-Town likes to throw the ball a little bit. So there'll be some minor changes, but Section 2 football is outstanding football, as you guys well know. So yeah. It's gonna be a challenge.
Yeah, it's going to be fun for all the media to cover, I can tell you that. Probably going to keep you up at night. All right, no more softball questions here. We want to dive right into it. We all know one of the best quarterbacks in the LL League is on your team, Joey McCracken, and we actually here at Blue Ridge ranked him number 4 on our top 11 QBs of the last 20 years. So that's pretty high praise. Expectations go along with that as he comes into his senior year. Also well known, he's coming back from major knee surgery. So how's the recovery going, and kind of where do we stand week 1 here with Joey McCracken? Is he in the lineup?
The recovery is going very well, and he's going to be in contact with the doctor later this week, and that decision will be up to the doctor. He's cleared from physical therapy, so he's obviously making tremendous progress. But decision's going to be the physicians at the end of the day. So I honestly can't give you an answer to that question like today.
Sure. Question follow-up to that is there a backup in camp, and how do you like how he's been playing?
It's a shame you guys didn't get to see our scrimmage Friday. Jack played pretty well.
He did.
Backup is Jack Reed, and quite honestly, we brought him up last year as a freshman, and it's one of those hindsight pretty bright moves on our part. We thought that he would be better served being with us than being in the junior high because he had potential. He's a nice sized kid. He's got a good arm. He's got a very good arm, and the year of work that he got in last year, I think is going to pay dividends. If it's him Friday night, we're not particularly concerned about, nothing changes. It's the same offense that we run, whether it's him or Joey. And I thought he did a real good job Friday night in the scrimmage.
Awesome. Okay, well, both of these guys were able to see that, so we will talk to them here. The Blue Ridge crew was off shooting a high school game up in Northwest Lehigh. So, Eric, go ahead and hop in here and ask the first question for you.
Yeah, I have to agree. I was really impressed with Jack last Friday night. Had some really good zip on the ball and a nice touch on some of those deep passes. So I'm sure that he was quite excited about the opportunity. I guess my question is, obviously the deepest run in program history last year, going to the districts, and a lot of senior leadership. What was the off season like, and how much did these guys really take charge with the underclassmen, getting them ready for this year?
Well, obviously everybody's going to say like the off season was weird. So I guess the thing that sticks out the most to me is, first of all, with this year's upperclassmen, the work that they did when they had to be by themselves, and let's be honest, they got together. But when we finally got to come in as a team and we saw where we were at in terms of physical strength, it reflected the fact that those kids lifted, ran, did everything we could have asked them to do when they were by themselves. And we were happy. I'm thrilled, quite honestly, that the condition they came in, and they kind of let the young kids know that it's your job to be part of what we're doing. And then there's expectations. You're being sent workouts that you need to do based on, do you have a full set of weights? Do you have some weights? Do you have no weights? We provided workouts based, as most coaches did, but based on what you had available to you. The trick is convincing a kid that we're going to give this to you, and you by yourself, or with one or two of your buddies, are going to find a way to make yourself go and do what's right. Our kids did. They came in a little. I like to have seen them in better shape, but that's something that it's a coach's job to some degree, knowing how hard to push a kid in terms of physical conditioning and running. But strength-wise, we were very happy. So I think the leadership has carried over from class to class for this will be the 5th year now. You go back to when Tremarchi was a senior and those guys, they were the first ones that, in this cycle to figure it out, that, this is what you got to do if you want to be successful and things like that. And it's kind of carried over and they passed the mantle to the next group of kids. And so this year's seniors have done a great job.
All right, Coach Kaufman, you saw the scrimmage between Ephrata and Warwick. Liked what you saw. Hop in here.
Yeah, Coach, I got the video from Ephrata, and I'm kind of surprised. I thought your quarterback was McCracken. The way your boy was throwing the ball, I thought, wow, McCracken is healthy. You got to be very happy with that boy.
Yeah, like I said, we are, and he's good. I mean, in a lot of scenarios, let's be honest, football goes in cycles, and it was pointed out earlier, I've been here 20 years. There was a couple seasons where that kid, Jack could be our starter and I would be thrilled. To have him and have Joey as well is a real blessing. And yeah, like I said, if it's Jack who starts Friday night, our offense is the same. We're very confident in what we can do. And like you said, he showed he can throw the football, and he understands our offense.
Hey, one other question. Tell me about Colton Miller. Has he bulked up or what?
Yeah, both Colton and Thatcher. They put on about 15, 17 pounds of good weight. They're both kind of jacked right now.
So Colton's around 220 right now.
217, 220.
Oh my goodness.
They've done a good job preparing themselves for this season. I thought Thatcher had a really good scrimmage Friday night. The touchdown pass he caught, he's a tight end, but he's a pretty quick tight end, and that was good to see. And he made some good blocks. But yeah, Colton's a punishing runner, so him putting on that weight, and I think he's a step quicker than he was a year ago. So we're good to go. And Christian Royer had a couple good runs in that scrimmage, and then the kid at the end, number 4, Snyder, he's got pretty good vision. You know how that is, coaching. Some kids see it, and he's got vision. So yeah. But Colton, yeah, he's ready for the year.
So is it sounding like the offense is going to carry the team for a while, or is the defense right there with them? How are we there with the balance on the team this year, Coach?
Our defense is pretty good. I think our defense is going to be very good. We lost some excellent football players last year, linebackers, Nasco, Forbes, and Bufus. But Nate is back in the middle, and we have some other kids. And if you look at our defensive line, Nolan Rucci is just, is what he is. We have 2 nose guards back who played last year. Thatcher Miller played the other DN. We have a couple other. We're going to be able to rotate our down people again this year. And in the secondary, Schmitz is back. Adam Martin played a fair amount of safety last year behind Connor Adams. Tanner Haynes is back at cornerback, and Cooper Eckert will be the other cornerback. So we got a lot of pieces coming back for the defense. And, Coach Smoker does a great job with our defensive scheme. He brings a lot of pressure, a lot of blitzes. We spend a lot of time installing things that make us effective. So, I think the defense is ready to go. So I don't think either side should have to carry the other one.
Okay. Sounds like high expectations. And week 1 is coming up here on Friday. Penn Manor is your opponent, former Section 1 foe there. So you do get to keep that. What are you expecting from them? What is kind of the mindset as you head into this first game in what is now a shortened season?
I think they've improved considerably since last year. The quarterback is back. He does a nice job. And the tight end returns. They have a couple of linemen back. And, their scrimmage film with Elko, you look at it and you think like, it was kind of even. I get the feeling Elko is a really good football team. They have some big boys, some bruisers. And I thought Penn Manor, did more than hold their own. That they showed some really good athleticism, good hard football. So we're expecting a significant challenge Friday night. But as long as we get to Friday night and we actually get off the bus and play, I'll be a happy man.
I feel like that's how a lot of us feel. It's like we're holding the breath, we're hoping to get there, and if and once we do get there, boy, it's going to feel nice. And kind of speaking along those lines here, Coach Locker, you guys found out just recently that your Week 2 opponent, Conestoga Valley, cannot play for several reasons because of the COVID-19 outbreak at the school district. How are you guys handling that? Are you in search of someone to play? Is it going to be a bye week? Update us there.
We put a couple feelers out. I mean, there's been all kinds of scenarios thrown out there about is there a way to try to get to play Conestoga Valley. It's been a long time ago, but Coach Coffin, you probably somewhere along the line remember those days where you had a rain out when we had all grass fields and you wound up with a Monday night going in again on Friday. Yep. I don't think that's a particularly intelligent approach to life if you can avoid it. I don't know what we're going to do. There's not a lot of games out there. And then, if you start looking for games, how far do you want to travel? And does that come apart later? So we're kind of just, like I said, we got a couple feelers out. We'll see what comes back to us. But I'm going to be honest. I absolutely believe that there'll still be more things happening between now and the time we play CV. And, we hope nothing else happens, but logic says there might be some other schools that have to readjust where they're at and things like that. So we'll just kind of wait and see.
All right. That is kind of how this year's been. Just kind of make it up on the fly. Well, thanks for coming on the program. I do want to mention we have a really cool treat for everyone at home coming up right after the show. The third episode of Let's Talk coming up here on Blue Ridge 11 has a couple members of the Warwick football program. So let's show you here. It's actually Nolan Rucci on the program with his dad, Todd Rucci. We're going to have some fun there, talk football, talk family, and some good stories there. Join us for that. Kelly Liebel from Ephrata also hopping on the program. So excited about that. Join us right after this show for that coming up at 8:30. All right, and thanks to Coach Locker for coming on the program tonight. Appreciate his time. Good luck in that opening game against Penn Manor, and good luck this season. We're headed for another break here on Sports Talk. Stay with us because on the other side of these commercials, we're heading to Section 3, and we will visit with the Ephrata Mounts. We'll see you there in just a minute. Welcome back to Sports Talk. We've hit you with a lot of football previews so far. All four of our local teams in Section 2 have been discussed, and I do think we learned a lot. And we are ready to learn a lot more about Section 3 coming up here in just a minute. But first, let's preview our Friday night football matchup coming at you live on Blue Ridge 11. Yeah, that's right, Friday night, the Ephrata Mounts out of Section 3 taking on the Elko Raiders out of Section 4. Big game for both teams since it's a shortened season. All of these games count that much more for the playoffs. Tune in Friday, September 18th, 7 o'clock as we go live from War Memorial Field in Ephrata. It's the first live high school sporting event on Blue Ridge 11 television since February. Yeah, it's been a while, and we couldn't be more excited to have the return of high school sports back here on the channel. So let's get to our next interview here on Sports Talk Special Edition. Eric May, Coach Phil Kaufman, and now joining us, the head coach of Ephrata football, Chris Miller, in his 5th year in charge of those Mounts. Thanks for joining us. How is the team looking, Coach?
Oh, we're really excited about this year. With about the number of kids we have coming back, we're excited about the athletes. We had a pretty good scrimmage against Warwick. It was nice to get out and go against somebody in a different color jersey and see what we have. Obviously, there were some mistakes that we want to clean up this week, but we're looking forward to the opportunity to play and excited the home opener is also on Blue Ridge this week.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, very exciting news. Hopefully, the fans that aren't able to come to the stadium will be able to sit at home, watch it, and enjoy a good game. You guys are in Section 3, kind of been there for a little bit, but it's been shaken up. Several teams joining the party. So we want to show you what that kind of looks like for everybody at home watching. They'll also get to kind of have a look here and see the teams that are now in Section 3, because it was a big section. Now it's been pared down. And there you have it. Donegal's in there, Garden Spot now moving down to Section 3, Lambeter, Strasburg, Lancaster Catholic, Lebanon is in there. So a lot of teams that you're going to get to have some new games with there. So, Coach, how does it feel to be down in Section 3? What's kind of the feeling there now with some of the new teams joining you?
I mean, you look at it, that's a very competitive section. All of those teams that have, were either in the district playoff hunt last year. You have LS that won the 4A district title. He came pretty close to making it to the state finals. Every week's going to be a tough game. And we're going to have to see and show up and play. But I'm excited about the quality teams that are in the section. And I think it's going to give us a great opportunity to compete and see where we're at as a program.
Okay, so we got to get this one out of the way. Let's talk about quarterbacks. Ephrata's all-time leading passer, Caden Kiefer, gone to graduation. So who gets to step in and take over the reins of the offense this year?
Up until probably about Friday, the two quarterbacks, Joey Gunzenauer and Miracle Ratto, were pretty even, and it went back and forth for a while. And we kind of decided after the scrimmage that Miracle Ratto is going to get the start this week. And we like what he can do in his leadership as a senior. And the kid's a playmaker with the ball in his hands. And then we're going to use Joey at the receiver spot a little bit. And he's also going to be playing strong safety for us.
All righty. Eric May, why don't you hop in here? What do you got for Coach Miller?
Well, and again, I'm going to go back to last Friday night at the scrimmage. And I think really what impressed me about Miracle, and yeah, he got a chance to play in some games last year at quarterback, but I was really impressed with his pocket presence. When he felt the pressure, his ability to step up, he kept looking downfield. How much progression have you seen from him since last year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he got he played quarterback as a sophomore. He was kind of our backup quarterback, and that was, where he was at. And then last year he pretty much was predominantly a running back. So he didn't get many quarterback reps last year during the season and even in practice. And then, having the long break that we had and not really starting until July. But he's been totally immersed in the offense, and he's done a great job of learning it. And like you said, the thing is, I was impressed with him on Friday being able to make plays down the field and not necessarily looking to tuck it and run it, because, he is extremely fast. But he's shown that he is, still looking to throw the ball and make the right reads. I think he's really progressed in those areas, whether it's the reads in the run game or the reads in the passing game.
All right, well, Coach Kaufman really liked your defense in that scrimmage. Coach, why don't you hop in here and talk with Coach Miller for a little bit?
Well, Coach, I got to see the videos of your first inter-squad scrimmage and also the video from Friday night. And I'll tell you what, you have some of the best skill people I think I've seen at Ephrata in years. I mean, you just have loads of good people. And I was really impressed with Miracle, the way he scrambled against Warwick and broke off some big runs. Is Stanley playing? Is he healthy this year?
Yeah, he's still kind of building himself back up. He hasn't been a full 100% yet. We're kind of easing him back into it, coming off the knee injury that he had last year. But we think down the road here this season, he's going to be able to be a big contributor for us.
And you have that big fullback in Greer. He ran hard on Friday. You got some good people. Yeah, no, Greer did a great job, and we were excited about the offensive line we had back in front of Miracle and Greer. We think that even though we don't have the experience at the quarterback position that we've had, that we have 5 guys that all started last year at some point in the season returning up front. We think we can protect him and open up some big holes for him. To let him kind of come into the quarterback role. And your wideouts, you have some good wideouts that'll catch the ball. Very impressive. Yeah, Brock Boyer's done a phenomenal job playing one of our slot receivers. Andre Weidman's kind of our Swiss Army knife on offense. He plays fullback. He plays split end. He'll play slot receiver. He'll play pretty much anywhere we put him, he'll play, and he's going to find the ball in his hands. Taj London is a speedster on the outside that we're excited about. Marshall Mondo, we think, can make plays. Hunter Mortimer's back playing football this year. That's right. And he's
he's another exciting kid. We're like you said, we're excited about the speed we have. That we can play on the perimeter, we can pound it with Greer, and we're gonna be pretty versatile on offense. And our offensive coaching staff's done a great job of trying to find ways to put the ball in everyone's hand in the right situation.
All right, so you've got a big game coming up on Friday. It's your Week 1 opponent, the Elko Raiders. We've been hearing a lot about their quarterback, Braden Bohannon. As you prepare, you've probably gotten to see what he has to offer. Can you kind of clue everybody in at home what you guys really are up against here?
Yeah, I mean, he's a special player. We saw him as a freshman. I think my first or second year, he was a quarterback in their spread offense for 2 years when we scrimmaged him. And now the 2 years that we've played him in the section, what he's done in that veer attack, I think Coach Kaufman can appreciate what he's done at the quarterback position, running their outside veer. And he's a punishing quarterback that also has speed, and he can throw the ball too. So we certainly have to be aware of where he's at, and especially if he lines up at running back or somewhere else. But he does everything on offense, defense, special teams. He's their punter. He is, for any chance for us to win the football game, we got to contain him and make someone else hurt us.
Boy, Coach Kaufman, he sounds a lot like Noah Palm.
Oh, there's no question. I watched the video of them against Penn Manor. You're right. He does everything. And the big play, as you well know, to stop is that little follow where he fakes the dive and then he follows the back into the line. Man, Coach, penetrate. That'll do it. And you know that.
Sounds like your defense is going to have to really step up. Is there a player or two on that side of the ball that you're really looking to play a big role?
Yeah, I mean, we have our whole front seven back from last year.
Wow.
Our whole defensive line, all our linebackers. So it's really going to rely on those 7 guys to play their optimal responsibilities. Make sure we know who has the dive back and know who has the quarterback on every play, and let our speed and the defensive back come and rally and make a play on the pitch. We've been preaching that for 3 weeks now. We've been working with the option, working with Elko plays to get ready for that because it's such a different offense, and they run it so well, and their offensive line comes off the ball so low and so fast that we have to make sure that we're ready to match that with our defensive line. And as Coach Kaufman said, penetrate and find the dive back and find the quarterback and wrap them up and put them on the ground every play. All
right. Well, you mentioned last year a little bit. You got some really good players coming back. One of the things that happened, you guys went 6-4. I think it was the first winning season there since potentially 10 years ago, and you just missed out on the playoffs. It was like fractions of a point, obviously disappointing. Were there some lessons learned, some teachable moments that you kind of were able to use then and able to kind of carry over till now?
Absolutely. This senior class came into a program that hadn't won a game in 5 years, and they were part of a 5-5 team. Now they're part of a 6-4 team. They've been a huge part of the maturity process of our program. And just falling, 0.00769 points away from districts last year. Not that I had that number memorized or anything. But, we learned that, not showing up for a game, we had that 3-game skid in the middle of the season last year, where we didn't have our A game those 3 weeks, and it hurt us. We win any one of those 3 games, and we can find ourselves in a district playoff spot. So, and I think even this year, more so with a condensed season, we've been preaching to the kids, every game is going to be a section championship game, and every game is going to be a district playoff game. Because if you lose one, especially early in the season, you're going to put yourself behind the 8 ball, and then you have to be playing catch up. So, we have to bring our A game and bring our focus and be ready to go and make these 7 games count.
Yeah. That's a great point. Eric, last question here. Hop in.
Well, I can see why you're giddy. With 18 returning guys that saw some experience last year, I can obviously sense the excitement. And again, looking back to last year, I think what was kind of a defining moment for me was that game against Lancaster Catholic. You were toe-to-toe with them for 2.5 quarters. And I think, if anything, that had to leave an impression on the kids saying, we can do this. We've just got to work a little bit harder next year.
Right. Right, absolutely, and that game, and then the Elko game and Donald game after that, it was, it took a lot for us to have that 3-game skid to find a way. And then when you look at Columbia, I think the big turning point was Lebanon for us last year. That was a game where we needed to win, and we found a way to go up there and beat a quality program. So that stuff, we're realizing that, we're not hoping to win football games. Now we're going to get on the field. We expect to win the football game. We expect to play our best and be ready to go no matter who's our opponent across the field.
All right, and it's worth pointing out that game against Lancaster Catholic this year, October 9th at Lancaster Catholic, we're going to have it here on the channel. So excited to see how you do there. We're obviously excited to see how you do on Friday. Thanks for coming on the program. Appreciate the time. Good luck on Friday against Elko, and obviously good luck the rest of the season.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on, and look forward to seeing you Friday.
Yeah, we'll see you Friday. Thank you very much. Speaking of Friday, let's show you again. The game coming up here on Blue Ridge 11 is a pretty good one to kick off our schedule. It'll be Elko versus Ephrata, 7 o'clock on the 18th. Live high school sports back on the program, so please join us for that. Coming up after this show here tonight, it's another episode of Let's Talk featuring one of Ephrata's own, Kelly Liebel, the three-sport all-star. She will be on the program along with Nolan and Todd Rucci, the father-son duo out of Warwick. So watch that show, 8:30, coming up here on Blue Ridge 11. All right, we've got one final team to preview here on our Sports Talk Special, the LL Football Coaches Show. It is Garden Spot. Those Spartans are coming your way right after the commercial break. Back here on Sports Talk, our annual LL Football Coaches Show is winding down, and we are spending some time in Section 3. And now it's time to welcome on the head coach of the Garden Spot Spartans in his second year with his team, in his second go-round with the program. Let's welcome in head coach Matt Zamperini. How are you, sir? How you doing?
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here, doing well.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. We're excited to kind of hear what you have to say about your squad. This is going to be our kind of first taste of the Spartans. So, plenty of success in your Spartan career in the past. You guys have made the playoffs. You've had some fantastic quarterbacks there. Last year, a tough one for you, the 0-10 season. What does a veteran coach like yourself say to the program, try to motivate them to kind of get them moving in the right direction here?
There's a lot of factors there. It's the big thing is building the core kids that want to get back to winning ways. And you need to have kids to do that. And you need to have kids that are willing to put the time and the work in to do that. And, one of the things that really hurt us last year is, I think we had eight or nine seniors on the roster. We're at 16 this year, and a lot of guys with experience and a lot of guys that have had an opportunity to train with on and off the field for a year. They're a year more mature and, focused on the mission and the expectations that we're trying to set for them. And ultimately, they got to want to get out of it for themselves. And a big part of that as coaches is for me, we work them hard. We run them through a pretty tight ship. And at this point, a lot of guys, even seniors on the roster, they still don't entirely understand the why behind all the things that I'm asking them to do. And we need, the program, any program in this situation needs a handful of kids with the courage to step up and pursue and lay out in the spite of possibly failing, but just the courage to pursue and work. And, if you're going to do that, good things are going to happen. And I feel like we're making strides in that area. I really do.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of motivational stuff on your football Twitter. So obviously trying to get the mindset change there. It sounds like it's a work in progress. The good news, though, as you kind of talked about experience, dual threat quarterback Jesse Martin does return for you. So what's exciting you about kind of what he brings to the offense, to your team, to the culture?
He's bigger and stronger than last year. He's at 6'2", he's 210, 215 now, and for his size, he's extremely mobile, has an extremely strong arm, and it was hard for him last year. He threw the ball for us well last year, but I think if we would have been able to catch more of the ones he threw, there would have been some wins in the win column, and it's just his confidence. If you're gunning the ball and you're struggling to believe in your receiver's ability to catch it, I never played quarterback, but I can only imagine that would be a difficult mental game to play. And So that some of those kids grew up from last year. You know, they're a year older, a year stronger. They have some Friday night experience under their belt. And, you know, Joel Martin and Derek Lambert and a handful of those guys are showing their ability to catch and run. You know, so, you know, Jesse should be a top quarterback in the LL this year. If things go the way that, you know, they should go, he should be a top quarterback.
That's great to hear. Eric, why don't you hop in here and launch one of your questions?
Well, I was going to say, you know, and you look at, you know, Jesse and the success he had last year and what he could do this year and with John Dykey. But let's face it, it's all going to start up front. Talk to us about your offensive line and how that's looking coming into the season.
Well, we have three quality returners. Luke Shirk is a tough, hard-nosed, big blue-collar kid. He's a 6'2", 270-pounder with 3 years of experience. He's going to be a good player on both sides of the line, great leader, just a great quality kid. And there are two other guys, Brandon Swopes, return at center. He's leaner and stronger than he was last year, and Bryce Mercer has a year under his belt too. There's a couple positions, you know, we don't have a lot of depth. We have a lot of depth in linebacker skill kids. You know, for this year compared to last year, it was, you know, we're trying to figure out who our Bravo Charlie type guys are still. You know, in some positions who are alphas at those skill type positions. There's some depth there, which is great to have. And we didn't have that last year. You know, if your linebacker goes down now, you know, you're struggling on how to still scheme a defense, you know, but there's back to your question, our depth at line is a concern. And, you know, we need to stay healthy. Two young guys, Aiden McLeod, and there's a sophomore, Tyler Hurst, who's going to be a very good player. He's just short on the learning curve still right now, but, they had a pretty good scrimmage up front Saturday. They made some mistakes, but they were getting off the ball and they were working hard. And, you know, you know, in the offense that we're running, you know, the quarterback's an integral part of that, and, you know, helping make the read man wrong and make the quarterback right. So the lineman's got to perform, but our ability to throw the ball a little bit more and Jesse's ability to be proficient in his read concepts that clearly helps the offensive line play.
All right, Coach Kaufman, why don't you hop in here and ask a question?
Hey Z, I looked at your scrimmage against, it was Columbia, right?
Yes.
Was it up at Columbia? I hope so, because that field was bad.
Well,
that's one of the worst fields I've ever seen. Tell me that wasn't at your place.
And we were playing up behind Bowmansville, up behind the elementary school, up on the farmer's field.
Because I'm just gonna say, man, that was bad.
No,
nobody got hurt.
Hey, to be fair, Garden Spot's working on a new turf field, right?
I know they're getting turf.
That is true. Yes.
Go ahead, defend yourself.
We got to suffer through 3 home games.
Nobody got hurt on the field, right?
I don't. It's mud, so I don't think anyone's going to get hurt.
Hey, I just want to tell you, I was impressed offensively. I thought you guys looked really good. How big is Dykey? Because he's a big boy.
He's 6'2". We weighed him the other day. He's 247.
Oh, come on! Are you serious? He moves that well.
And he's probably 10% body fat.
Whoa.
Yeah, we kind of got together with, you know, we weren't allowed to shake hands, so we kind of got together and just powwowed and wished each other well with Columbia and a few of those, you know, and just kind of asked each other for words of wisdom. It was a good way to end the scrimmage, but the one Columbia linebacker, he said, his comment was, that guy ain't human. That's the physical presence that he does have. Now, there's still a mental side to his game that he needs to build confidence in and figure out what he's playing for. And, you know, I said after that to him is that you need to start believing that. And if we can get him to that point, he's going to be a force. He's going to present a lot of problems running the ball, and he's going to be unblockable as a defensive end.
Were you pleased overall with the scrimmage? Because I know Columbia did complete some passes against you.
Yeah, they did. I mean, here's the thing. That's holy smokes. I mean, usually at this time of the year, we have half dozen 7-on-7s against other first-team starters. We have We have 4 days at a team camp where kids are getting team and 7-on-7 reps. Kids typically by now have hundreds of reps in the pass game against ones, and they don't have that right now. And I think the pass defense, you can drill and drill and drill and drill and drill coverage concepts and technique and footwork, but the finishing the play, we got guys right there finishing the play. That only comes from real Friday night reps. And, I think that was a lot of that, and just having an opportunity to get real full speed reps when they matter. And that takes time.
Well, let's get to your Friday night opponent. You're going on the road to play Cocalico. I have to say this, they're the defending 5A District 3 champs. What are you preparing for here? What are you expecting to be up against here, Coach?
Well, they had a tough first scrimmage at Wilson, and they are who they are. And it's nothing new. It's figuring out how to the challenge of defending Columbia Cocalico is adjusting to the multiple formations and being sound in those formations and having kids comfortable in playing fundamental football out of multiple different looks. And so this week is it's a lot of no ball drill. It's a lot of just gap discipline type stuff. People that drive by the field or walk by and see a team period, with no football on the field might wonder what's going on. But we're just trying to instill all those different fundamental jobs within trying to getting things aligned right without making things too complicated, because they run the rocket toss and the toss game and the read game. It's fast, and you can't be thinking when you're playing these guys. So that's our big challenge, is to get these guys be sound and get them playing fast defensively. And offensively, we're probably going to get a bunch of guys in a box. They watch the scrimmage tape. They're going to load up John in the read game, and we have to be able to get the ball out. We're probably going to see some cover zero, a good bit of cover zero, and we got to get the ball and make them pay the edge thrown around. We got to get outside linebackers to play outside the box. And that's the big thing we got to be able to do. Jesse has to be on. We have to catch and run and soften up the edge for the running game.
All right, Coach, we've got 1 minute left. Go ahead with your final thought.
Well, I'm just, through all this, and we keep reminding each other that, 3 weeks ago, we weren't sure we'd even be playing a game one. And you get into the grind, and it's almost, in some ways, it's as if none of that stuff even happened. You don't even have time to think about it. But it's real important just to sit back, take a deep breath, and, thank God that, we have the opportunity to line up on Friday night and play a football game. And, I just extremely excited about that, and we're blessed to be able to do that.
Could not have said it any better ourselves. Thank you so much for coming on the program, Coach C. We're looking forward to seeing what the Spartans can do this year. Obviously, good luck on Friday, and then the rest of the season as you're going along. Good luck there as well.
Great to see you guys. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Coach. And that'll do it for our show. Don't forget, we have Let's Talk coming up in just a few minutes. My guests for that include Kelly Liebel plus Todd and Nolan Rucci from Warwick. Also, don't forget, Friday night, high school football returns to Blue Ridge 11. Elko versus Ephrata, 7 p.m. live right here on the channel. We're getting excited for that. We hope you are too. Our next Sports Talk won't be until October 14th. Plenty of great things to get to there. High school football, the NFL will be in Week 6. Major League Baseball playoffs. Thank you so much for watching tonight. For Eric May, for Coach Phil Kaufman, for all our local football coaches who came on the program tonight. We appreciate you. I am Chad Landers. Football is back this Friday night. We hope you enjoy it wherever you're able to watch. And of course, stay safe.